Hi, my name is Susan Doyle from Box Media, and I will be the moderator today. I would like to welcome you to Lean Construction Ireland's 18th webinar, the topic of which is Ardmac, our lean story so far, presented by Jason Casey. If you have a question, please type it in the question box and we will consolidate and ask Jason in the second half of the webinar. If there are any questions that we don't get answered during the webinar, we will follow up by email afterwards. The agenda will be as follows: opening introduction by Gary Widger, and then the presentation by Jason, followed by questions and answers. I will now hand you over to Gary.
Thanks, Susan. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gary Widger, and the webinar today is being brought to you by Lean Construction Ireland in conjunction with our media partner, Box Media. So today's webinar, the title is Ardmac, our lean story so far, which I'm really excited to hearing. And our guest speaker is Jason Casey, who also sits on the board of Lean Construction Ireland. So Jason, throughout his 12 years experience with Ardmac, has gained considerable experience in technology and interior contracts management. He's highly conscientious operations manager with an exceptional commitment to managing each element of work to the customer satisfaction and driving programs while maintaining a firm focus on safety, quality and budget. Jason is the key leader in Ardmac's lean construction journey and is a champion of innovation and change across the company. And as I said earlier, he's also a Lean Construction Ireland director and is a chartered construction manager. Now I'm going to pass you over to Jason to start the presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Gary, for that introduction. As Gary said, today we're going to talk about the Ardmac story, and hopefully everyone who's listening can maybe take some little nuggets of information or something out of this that could you maybe bring in to your own day-to-day working lives, or that could help maybe some of your own companies. And just a technical difficulty here. Just give me a moment, please. Apologies, folks. Just there's a technical difficulty with the slideshow. Okay, sorry, I seem to have overcome that. Just a quick overview of the presentation. We'll start looking at why have we got involved with Lean, what we can do to bring that forward. What is Lean? Looking at our journey, which started off with the last planner system, looking at some elements of integrated project delivery, the barriers and resistance that we have found through our journey so far to change, and what the future is for us, and looking then at some questions and answers hopefully at the end. So just for a quick overview of who Ardmac is, for anyone that's unaware of who we are, what we do, we're an international construction specialist that delivers complex high-value workspaces and technical environments. We've been in the business for 40 years. We had a significant rebranding in October last year, and that gave us an opportunity to look at ourselves and look at how we do our business and reshaping the way we move forward. We've got over 300 employees. We're based here in Swords in Dublin, but we have offices in Manchester, Brussels and Craigavon as well, and doing work all over Europe, including Amsterdam, Belgium, Denmark, Switzerland, and other areas of Europe as well. The four key sectors that we work in is fit out, clean rooms, data centers, and refurbishment and construction. So we do have quite a broad range of industry experience through different sectors, and a lot of learning from the various different sectors to take from that. Some of our clients would be a lot of blue chip global clients, the likes of Alexian, HSBC, MSD. Just a selection of some of our clients here that we've done a lot of work for, and we feel that our lean journey can benefit and value to our clients. Our mantra is excellence in everything we do, and as part of our rebranding back in October, as I said, this was one of the key elements that we are now focusing on delivering. And part of our rebrand was to really have a look at our guiding principles. And we have come together as a group to bring 5 revised and upgraded, if you want, or enhanced guiding principles. Number 1, understanding our customer. Number 2, safety first. Number 3, respect always. 4, excellence as a standard. And 5, delivering our brand promise. And as you can see from those, a lot of those have links to lean culture and a lean focus around how we can deliver on those. So why lean? Why did Ardmac decide to get involved with lean? What was it? How did it all come about? I suppose back in 2015 and 16, lean was starting to become a little bit more evident and a little bit more in the industry as a common term that people were looking at. We did have some client demand for a lean innovation and looking to join projects where lean was a focus. We had efficiency and productivity areas that we wanted to improve on, and we wanted to structure improved planning on how we would do our work and linking all back through our guiding principles to deliver greater value to our clients. In order to do that, we had to educate ourselves. As I said, back in 2015, when this all came up to us, we had very little knowledge of what lean actually was about. Some of our people went out to the Lean Construction Ireland events to get a base knowledge at the community events of what it was about, what it meant. We enhanced that by doing some green and yellow belt training and a lot of research, and we have also had help from some of the service providers to get us on our journey and take us through our current lean strategy, helping us to deliver on that strategy. So what is lean? Just a very brief review of what lean is for anyone that's new. Lean is a business strategy based on satisfying the customer by delivering quality products and services that are just what the customer needs, when and where the customer needs them, in the amount required, at the right price, while using the minimum of materials, equipment, space, labour and time. All of these resources which are very important and they need a lot of attention, and in some cases not always readily available. So it's critical how we utilize getting those in place efficiently. What lean means to Ardmac is it's about working together. It's about collaboratively working together and everybody being part of the team. It's about working smarter. That doesn't mean working harder. It just means working that little bit cuter. Reducing the 8 wastes in 10 woods of transport, inventory, motion, waiting, over processing, over production, defects and skills usage. Working safety first, one of our guiding principles. We believe that lean has a huge part of that. Reducing change and reducing variation obviously increases our safety performance. Getting it right first time, very important from a quality point of view, and always looking to do it better. The 5 core lean principles, we'll not get into too much detail on this, but just basic 5 core lean principles is about specifying value, seeing what the client wants, understanding what the client wants and working towards that, mapping the value stream, mapping all the steps through the project from pre-construction right through to handover, and trying to establish a flow from start to finish, getting the constraints and barriers that prevent that efficiencies within that stream being maximized, implementing the pull, so nothing is done by the upstream process, it's all downstream customer signals required, so it's actual demand pulls the work as opposed to just having work ready at whatever time suits everybody, every time suits you. It's about needing when the customer needs, that's when the customer gets. Working to perfection. always about continuous improvement and always trying to better ourselves as we move through the projects. One of the key things that we have established over the last few years as we've been on our lean journey, a lot of it's around leadership and ownership of what it's all about, I suppose, and some of the key requirements that we feel that are critical if you want to be on a lean journey and have success on your lean journey is firstly understanding the philosophy of lean and the lean principles. Like anything else, it's very difficult to implement something if you don't have a proper understanding of it. Demonstrating commitment from leadership. Lean integration can take 5, 10, in some cases more than that, years to be integrated into the system, and it takes a continuous commitment from leadership to ensure that happens. You know, we talk about failure. Failure isn't something when something goes wrong, it's about when you quit. So it's that continuous commitment to the strategy. There's but demonstrating a willingness to change, and more importantly, an ability to change. If you're on a point where you're starting your lean journey, or you have an idea of wanting to do a lean journey, if you don't have a willingness to change, I can assure you that it won't work. You have to be willing and open to change and putting all your cards on the table and looking at the things that are wrong and trying to improve on those things. And we have very much a culture of that here. It's creating a learning culture where collaboration and innovation are encouraged, getting ideas from all levels, top to bottom, and taking those ideas and trying to maximize the potential and the opportunity out of those. Resourcing the lean effort with a lean project team or a lean champion. So currently here we have a lean governance team which has a representation from all the different departments within the organization. We have HR representation, safety, quality, delivery, commercial, all across. So we get feed into our lean strategy from all elements of the company. Include lean policies as part of the organizational strategy. We have a lot of fairly new over the last couple of years, procedures and policies that are now in place to help us on the journey. Leaders becoming coaches, something that takes continuous mentoring and really enhancing leadership skills to our leaders, that when we bring new people into the company or trying to bring people on through the lean strategy as such, or the lean delivery model, that our leaders on the sites and our leaders in-house and on the sites can become coaches. And ideally focusing on lean tools when the above steps are achieved, although sometimes, and we certainly found that sometimes you can get the early wins from putting tools out there and getting benefits off those, which helps deliver some of the above leadership requirements. As I said, our journey began back in 2015, and one of the main drivers for our journey was driven externally from client who wanted us to get involved with their project and asked us would be interested in doing so, providing that we would go on a lean journey with them and get involved with the last planner system, which we were glad to do. But I'm glad to say that as of now, and in the last year and a half or so, the drivers for change are most definitely now internal and external, but are definitely driven from inside the organisation. And it does require a cultural shift. It's 90% people, 10% tools, but we are continuously working towards that cultural shift and being in the right place with this. So just wanted to touch now on Last Planner. Last Planner was the first tool that we would have came across in lean. It was one of the very first things that we actually had day-to-day impact from. We did a project in Cork back in 2016. 2 projects, in fact, one project with Last Planner and one without, and the 2 projects were very similar in terms of scale, in terms of scope, and in terms of commercials and everything that went with it. You probably couldn't have found 2 projects that were quite as similar in the same facility. So it was very interesting to see the variances in output across the different KPIs as a result, which we'll get into shortly. Last Planner, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a scheduling system. It's a little bit different than your critical path method in that it plans into a little bit more detail, and it identifies a lot of the constraints, and it's really about getting ownership from the trades on the ground, or the guy that's responsible to do the actual work. I suppose the last planner system, such as the guy that is the last planner on the project. So it starts off with your master schedule, setting your milestones and your key dates, looking at what you should do, the specific handoffs between the trades, what tasks need done to allow another task to proceed, looking at the look aheads. So you're looking at your 1 week look ahead, your 6 week look ahead, your 12-week look ahead, identifying all the constraints so that those can be actioned, and someone can commit to taking the action on those, getting those constraints removed before you get to the work phase. And then it's just about planning the week ahead and tracking how productive that week has been, or what percentage of the work that you have planned to do can get completed in the week, and the reasons behind anything that can't be completed. This is just a completed weekly work plan. So you can see there just how it works. For example, Monday and Tuesday of this week, we had a plan to do electrical first fix. It was to be 100% complete. It didn't happen on the Monday. For number 8 was the reason for that was qualified staff ability. So someone maybe didn't turn up on the Monday, but the work got done on the Tuesday, and we're able to track the reasons why something didn't happen, which can be used for a more in-depth analysis and trends over time. One project here just to show an example of how this can physically work. So over a 5-week period last year, on one project we had tracked a percentage plan complete of 70.3%. Of the plan for that period of time had been completed on time. 1.69% of the works had been completed early. 9.4% had been completed late, but still in the same week as it had been planned. And 18.61% of the tasks have been missed. Now, it's very interesting to understand that when you use a critical path method of scheduling and planning, it's statistically proven that between 50 and 60% percentage of the plan of that schedule getting completed on time is roughly where it's at. But with the last planner system, we can enhance that up. We've had certain projects in time where we've been up in the 90s, but anything between 80 and 90% is a really strong weekly output. Again, just another table so you can get it in numbers, which can be used for analysis, but over time you can start to see the trends. So just an example of how it can be physically used and the benefits you can get out of using the data. Over a 5-week period here last summer, we had 5 weeks where we had a number of tasks that weren't complete because of qualified staff availability, and that was through supply chain and guys that were committing to work with maybe not understanding that someone was on holidays or someone was off, and the guys weren't available to do the tasks. So now we're able to put different processes in place to prevent that happening down the line. So we have through our supply chain and through our direct staff as well, that we can plan for events like this. And just a longer scale PPC trend, which is your project or percentage of plan complete. You can see here the variances that are the performance that there was over that particular project over that given period of time. So if there's a deep trough or a high spike in it, you can analyze that in greater depth if required. One of the main tools within this system is the constraints log, and we have seen huge benefits in this. Looking at it's really about improving your planning, looking at the 6, 8, 10, 12-week look aheads, identifying anything that's out there that could be in the way of preventing you from completing your work, identifying the task, getting someone to commit to own that task or removing that task, and identifying the work week when it's needed, the time that it's needed, the time that it's promised to get it cleared by. And this can be tracked on a weekly basis. And what we have found is that we have a significantly reduced stoppage at the work phase as a result. As I said, we had 2 projects, one running with Last Planner and one running without Last Planner. Some of the statistics that came out of this were the main reasons why we started to implement this across the board. So, as I say, Last Planner runs across the company now. Almost pretty much everybody in terms of site managers and our delivery teams are all trained in Last Planner, and they all have their Last Planner packs. This is how we deal with the program and scheduling element of our business. And it was really on the back of these two projects and the findings that happened. The first thing was that from a safety point of view, the project that had the Last Planner used, we had 0 first aids or near misses on that project, and we had a few first aids on the previous project. Now that may not all be down to Last Planner, but what we can guarantee, there was a lot less change and a lot less variation day to day. So we know that statistics show, and we would see it in-house, that an awful lot of any of the incidents or first aids or accidents that may happen through time, the majority of those come down to change. And when you reduce change, you improve your safety statistics. From a quality side of things, we're looking at defects, and we would have measured defects per 50k of sales or output on the job. So for every 50k of work we did on the project without the Last Planner, we had 9 defects at client walkdown, and that reduced to 3.4 with the Last Planner. And we're now currently targeting across the board 1 defect per 25k. So we're increasing our quality metrics, or the performance of our quality metrics, as a result of Last Planner as well. The labour usage, labour of actual against budget, we've seen a 10% reduction in that with the Last Planner. Obviously, that improves margin. We had, as I said, the unplanned stoppages were down to 2 per 50k of works complete. There was subjectively a much more positive team ethos on the second project with the Last Planner, and a lot less frustration due to everybody working together right from the get-go. From the early days when we were still in design phase right through, there was a very significant team ethos around the project. And the difference in schedule was that on the project without Last Planner, we were still closing punch lists out 2 weeks after PC. The project with Last Planner, we were gone out the gate, punch list complete 3 days early. Over the last 12 months or 18 months, we've started to see a lot more movement towards integrated project delivery. We're currently involved in 2 IPDs, one in Ireland and one in Europe. I just wanted to run through where we're at with this and the benefits of this. The client drivers for IPD would be a increased client value. You're also getting early specialist knowledge at project design stage, so you have a lot less rework. Focus on overall improvement, integrating processes, tools, and people in one system. Everybody working together and with a common goal. Better working relationships. It creates contractor buy-in to target value delivery through incentivization. So the way it works is you create a maximum project value, and everybody's working to reduce that cost through the project. And if there's savings within the project, those can be shared as an incentive between the contractors, and the client as well obviously gets a share of that. We're also seeing improvement across key measurable metrics of safety, quality, cost, and schedule as a result of reducing waste, and as a result of the collaboration and the better systems of everybody working together, as opposed to in silos where you're working to drive your own performance with not maybe having the concern that someone else has a predecessor that hasn't been completed, ending up in potential rework. So you're trying to mitigate all those issues. The client drivers for IPD again is there's a team of project constituencies being open and collaborative. You know, it's a big thing for clients, a big thing for the contractors as well. Everybody's open, and there's this trust level builds up, and the knowledge sharing is fantastic across those projects. The process is concurrent, so it's project life cycle orientated from the very start to finish. Shared information, collaborative, as I said before. We've got a collectively shared and managed risk and reward, so everybody's going for the one goal. It's performance and value-based compensation So the better you perform, or the more value that you can create, the more benefit you get out of that as a group. And the technology side of things is object oriented. The data is centralized and a shared models in place. So everyone's working out of the one system as opposed to multiple systems on the one project, creating a lot of a rework and a lot of duplication and over processing. So that the drivers lead to the benefits for IPD is that there's a lot of reduced variation in claims. You know, if you're working in silos on some of the contracts that are out there at the minute, it's about getting to the lowest price, and that in turn drives certain elements of variation down the line and claims coming on the back of that, which isn't of value to the client and isn't really of value to contractors where resources are critical at the moment. Elimination of waste and duplication, transparency and trust, integrated team ethos, leaving projects much easier to deliver, contractor incentive when targets are achieved, and improvements in the key metrics, as I said, safety, quality, cost, schedule. And what we're seeing now is some of the long-term relationships gained out of these are fantastic. So over our journey, we've come across many barriers and resistance, I suppose, and some of those I'll just highlight here. The first one, I suppose, is that many of the current contracts outside of IPD don't support lean practices. So your typical JCT or your RIAA contracts have no lean elements to those at all. Now, currently, Lean Construction Ireland actually have a working group looking at this, trying to improve or trying to change some of those contracts to allow more integration of lean practices. But that's something that that currently isn't in place and is definitely a barrier to implementing lean on some projects. The culture in parts of the construction industry is about driving for the lowest price, and the word value doesn't necessarily always come into it. It's about getting the rock bottom price, and that, as I said, doesn't give client value and is a barrier to lean implementation in places. The classic list of 7 wastes isn't fully relevant for construction. While they can be modified or tweaked to suit construction, some of them aren't directly linked to construction as they're really from a manufacturing background. But that said, there's certain elements out of every one of those that can definitely be put into construction with a different view. Projects are quick, complex and uncertain, so waste reduction is complex. The days of the fast track project are nearly all but gone because every project's fast tracked. It's all about speed and more speed. So the term fast track project is nearly relevant for every project now. And because of that, everything happens so fast and they are very complex. It's very difficult to have time to target a waste reduction in terms of lean. So that's a barrier that needs to be looked at. The low degree of stability and repetitiveness preventing flow. A lot of construction tasks and activities are very bespoke. So from one project to the next project, the similar task may not be exactly the same. They could have a lot of variance in it. So it's very difficult to measure one task on one project to the next project and continually monitor and improve on that. Standardization and modularization of products and systems is one way where we're looking very much towards to increase that level of stability and repetitiveness to allow us to focus on reducing waste in the process and as a result giving the customer better value. Short-term relationships and fragmented supply chain, again, on a lot of projects where cost is the driver on the contractual side of things, no sooner have you started the project and built up all the relationships through that project till you've got a strong working relationship with a supply chain till the project's complete, and on to another project with a completely different supply chain, maybe because of being nominated, maybe cost is a reason for that as well. So it is very difficult in the industry to build long-term relationships based on the current models that are out there. And last but not least, the role of the construction manager. The construction manager or the site manager, project manager, is responsible for safety, he's responsible for quality, he's responsible for schedule, he's responsible for cost, he's responsible for so many things on the project. It's very difficult for the construction manager or the project manager to get that time to sit back, look at the project as a whole and target areas for improvement for the next project, and getting away from the firefighting as such. So that was just our the things that we're doing at the minute and the barriers that we have seen through our journey so far. What's the future for Ardmac? At the moment, we have a lean strategy in place that runs to 2021. Currently, we have a lean belt training. We've got 23 yellow belt, 2 green belt, and 2 more going through green belt this week. Actually, we have a lean governance team in place, as I said, which represents all sectors across the company. So that allows us to meet every month and view what the current month and the previous months have delivered against the plan, and what's coming in the future months and the actions that's needed to allow it to be modified or changed to better suit our business. If there's things that aren't working, if there's things that need to be changed a little bit to help us, because it's all about helping the guys on the ground at the end of the day and making life easier for them. And as a result of all of that, the client gets better value. Our lessons learned, we've always had a lessons learned policy within the company, but we're now standardizing that a bit more and having a more collaborative approach to that, and everybody working from the one procedure that's very visual. Direct observation, we have 2 trials complete at the moment. Direct observation is pretty much a time and motion study, and we have 2 trials complete, and we've seen significant benefits and learning out of that. And we have in our strategy to complete another 4 of those this year. And based on the results of all of that, we will be looking to implement that across the business. We had applied for Lean Plus funding through Enterprise Ireland back in March. And while I have down here a decision due next week, we got the decision on that yesterday, and we're glad to say that we now have Lean Plus funding to help us on our journey, which is fantastic. So thank you to Enterprise Ireland if anyone's listening. The rapid problem solving webinar that was completed last week. So we're looking at, we hadn't maybe just as many attendees as we want. So we're putting the webinars back on our own system that everybody can see those and learn from those. Today, another part of the strategy is our webinar today, and we've been nominated in the Construction Industry Awards shortlisted for an Innovation Award as part of our Lean strategy, and we've also been shortlisted on safety as well, which has all links to Lean. So the future for Ardmac continued, I suppose, is it's really about educating all the staff, leaders as coaches, and bringing that on to the next level. It's ensuring the 5-year Lean strategy that's in place is delivered. We now have Last Planner rolled out across the organisation, and now it's continuing to keep control of that and increasing how we use the metrics and how we use the data out of that to improve our performance and deliver better projects. It's about ensuring we have the resources in place to aid that measurement and development, and as we grow and as the culture grows and as the system within to deliver Lean grows, it's about resourcing that and putting that in place. The integration of Lean culture across the organisation so that every part is inclusive. It's not just about out on sites, it's about from HR to admin to commercial to safety all the way through. Developing more on the IPD model, and by 2021 we hope to be in a position where we're on a par with what Shingo model implementation is, and our whole strategy is based around the Shingo model implementation. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them. Gary? Hello, Gary?
Thanks for that, Jason. I think Gary has a few questions there. I think he might be having some technical difficulties with his connection, maybe. Gary, can you hear us again? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
We can indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jason, I was going to say we have three questions in. So feel free, anybody else, to add questions as we go along. The first one is from Michael, and the question is: have you had much resistance to change from the workforce on your program, either related to last planner or the strategy? And if you did have this resistance, how did you manage it?
To be honest, the resistance has been limited, very limited to be fair. I think what we did, or the approach that we took, was it's really about making your life easier, and this gives the project manager or the site manager or the delivery team a voice. It gives them a voice where if you have issues on site that's causing a problem, it becomes very black and white and very factual, the results of the weekly work plan. So, for example, if you have planned a task and a subcontractor is committed to do something a couple of weeks in a row and it's not happening, you can say black and white, this didn't happen. They committed to the task and it didn't happen. And that allows that to be escalated and dealt with. And it gives the guy on the ground a voice. The other side of that is, I suppose, by communicating the benefits of it, we've seen significant improvements, I suppose, on the day-to-day life, or the work-life balance potentially, or of some of our site managers and stuff, where they would openly say there's less emails, there's less phone calls, there's less drama. You know, you're not going out at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning and 6 or 7 guys still saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's all very structured, and by 8:15 in the morning, everybody's gone to work and everybody knows what they're doing. And I suppose that starts to feed out through the company. And I think any of the resistance that we would have had is really down to understanding, as opposed to anything. We've as I said, we had help from lean service providers. With Crystal Lean Solutions is one of the consultants that we use, and they've been fantastic with us, to be fair. They've done a huge amount of training with the guys at this stage. We've now about 100 people trained on Last Planner over the last number of months, and we seem to be getting significant buy-in, and we're starting to see more and more day to day as we go out onto different sites that more compliance with what we're trying to do. So it's about, I suppose, it's about trying to make it easy for them, as opposed to making it something that's difficult to achieve.
Okay, very, very good. Thanks, thanks, Jason. Just you touched there at the end on Last Planner. I have a question in from Linda, and it's relating to Last Planner implementation. Which areas are you seeing most benefits or value? So I think they're saying what's really hot in Last Planner.
Okay, so there's two things for us. One is the constraints log, as I touched on during the presentation there. The constraints log is a huge thing for us in terms of it gets the black and white. You know, sometimes in day-to-day projects, large-scale projects, you know, there's problems out there, and everybody's maybe going to the construction manager or the project manager or the client saying, I've got a problem, and it's very difficult to track all of those day to day if everybody's just having the conversation or dropping the emails. The constraints log gives a very structured approach to that, and it also is looked at 6 or 8 weeks in advance, so it's given whoever's responsible time to deal with that and get rid of that barrier by the time we get to the work phase. So we're seeing significant benefit there. The other side of it that we're seeing significant benefit is down to our supply chain as well. We're getting a lot more commitment. We're getting a lot more ownership from the guys to commit to say, I'm going to do X amount of work on X amount of day, and they're standing over it in a room along with their peers and along with other companies. So there's definitely an ownership and a commitment there, which is great. And what we're seeing actually now more so definitely over the last number of months as we move into a bit of change, I suppose we're bringing a lot of the trades on the ground into those meetings as well, so that there's that natural competitiveness that we all have in us to compete with our peers for targets, I suppose. So that's where we're seeing some of the benefits. We're seeing all the benefits from quality and safety as well, but we could talk all day about those.
Yeah, very good. Well, I've got another Michael McCusker's thrown in a question. So it is: have you found a risk of focusing on the negative, for example, work lags due to personnel absence?
No, not so much. Initially, we would have done at a time. I suppose at the start, it was maybe some people thinking that it was a tool to beat them with, and that is not what this is about at all. It's about improvement, and it's about helping the people that's there. So, you can look at the misses and the errors as failures, but we prefer to look at those as opportunities for learning. And if there's something there, it's not about there's generally other reasons why something didn't happen, and it's about trying to take that to the next week and the next stage to try and mitigate that from repeat occurrence.
Okay, very very good.
Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, I think they're flying in here now. I've got a question from Urius. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hi, question for Jason.
Hello. Hello.
Sorry, Jason, I just think it's Gary's having a problem with his connection. He'll hopefully be back in a second with that question.
Okay. Hello, Gary.
Yep. Hi, sorry. Did you get that question?
No, I didn't. Sorry, Gary. I think you cut out there in the middle.
So it's a question from Georgios Kardashevas, and the question for Jason is lean training in the organization focused on site managers, or are other employees trained as well? For example, what about the procurement personnel?
So it's not focused on site managers. I suppose the site managers are the guys, and the project managers the guys that would have had the initial focus because they were the initial target or would have seen the initial benefit out of it. But what we tend to be doing now as new projects are starting, and that project team is together. So you'll have your commercial and your safety and your quality, and certainly procurement as well. Is a big part of that, and we're open for anyone that wants training or anyone that thinks that they will be missing out. Always knows to come and ask for it, and they can always slip into the next session. And so the training sessions we have in this are very regular. They're happening almost weekly at the moment there. So
okay.
All parts of the organization are as important as the other because it all links to the goal at the end.
Okay, very good. I've got a question. As a senior manager, what benefits do you see in this for yourself? So what's in it for you, for Ardmac or any other contractor or company that's out there?
I guess there's a number of things. As we get the data back in from the sites, we can see trends within the data, so we have a general feeling of how the job's performing against the schedule. But we also are able to see if there's any issues on site. So as we talked about the trends with the particular holidays there, back on that one, the example we had there, there's many other trends that we can look at as part of that as well, and it gives us that way of dealing, or I suppose an opportunity to deal with those. It gives us an opportunity to praise where praise is due, and some of the sites are performing extremely well on it. We've had some fairly big sites with this being implemented as a first time on some of them, and some of the projects are performing exceptionally well on this. And it gives the praise has to come as a big part of this as well. So we're still on the earlier side of this journey, but we definitely feel that we're getting significant benefits out of it, and as a whole, top to bottom, we see that there's significant value for us in it and significant value for our clients as a result.
Okay, very good. So look, I think we've covered about 5 questions there. I think we're on target. Yeah, we're on target. So I think at this point, I just like on behalf of Lean Construction Ireland, I'd like to thank Jason for his insightful presentation. For all participants, a link with the recording will be sent out to you. So Lean Construction Ireland, our next webinar is taking place in June. It's going to be delivered by DBS, a lean service provider based in Galway in Ireland, and we'll send that out to you through our usual channels, i.e. LinkedIn and our MailChimp distribution list. I'd also like to thank Box Media, our media partners, for facilitating the event today. And then probably, look, most of all, just a big thank you to Jason. I think it was a great story, really well presented and really well told. So thank you very much to Jason and Ardmac on behalf of Lean Construction Ireland. Finally, we're very active on social media, so please follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or you can engage with us through our website. So everybody have a great day. Get out there, enjoy the sun, and hopefully we'll be engaging with you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gary.